who says she put her 13-month-old baby boy Tyler to bed.
Tyler Dasher,
One boy who lost his life.
the boy who loved to smile.
A lot of unanswered questions.
And when she wakes up, he was gone. Police quickly feel something isn't right, but what they discover is disturbing.
The boy whose body was found near a cemetery.
For absolutely no reason.
Why?
The cause of death is multiple blunt force trauma.
The question on everyone's mind. Why? Candles were lit for a life that never should have been taken.
And we need to remember all of the children who have lost their lives due to abuse.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. I want to thank you for being with us. Bombshell tonight. Mommy parties into the night, then sleeps in till 11 a.m. When Mommy finally wakes up, she says her 13-month-old baby boy, Tyler, is gone, missing from his own crib. As we go to air tonight, we uncover that in the midst of all of this, Mommy actually takes a nap, still sleepy after a night out on the town.
Law enforcement says 20-year-old mom Shelby Dasher claimed her 13-month-old son Tyler vanished from his crib.
This just wasn't a missing person. There was a lot more to this than just a baby that was discovered, missing out of a bed.
The investigation began when the body was located. The medical examiner has determined that the cause of death is multiple blunt force trauma.
Why?
If he could talk, this is just the beginning of what he would say. And I want to give him a voice, since he didn't have one.
Why? Why you did this to Tyler? Why? He's only a baby.
We are live and taking your calls while Mommy takes a beauty nap. Neighbors are discovering her baby boy's body dumped like trash near a local cemetery. Take a look at this 13-month-old baby boy. The autopsy confirms the child was beaten to death, blunt force trauma to the head, to the neck, to the body. This child, only 13 months old. We are taking your calls. I want to go straight out to Ellie Josted, our chief editorial producer who's been following the story. Ellie, I need to hear the timeline again, please.
Right. Well, what the mother initially told police is that she put Tyler to bed.
Wait. Did you say initially?
Correct.
You mean her story changed?
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so initially she tells police that Monday night, about 10 p.m., she puts her little boy to bed. She goes out about 10:30 with some male friends, comes home around 2:30 in the morning. She said that she overslept. She finally woke up.
Wait a minute. I'm looking at the calendar, Ellie. This is on a Sunday night?
No. This is a Monday night, Nancy, going into Tuesday morning.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, so she says she finally wakes up around 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning. She goes to wake up her son. She's surprised that he's also...
Ellie, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't anybody have to go to work?
Well,
I mean, they go out. I was a little happier when I wasn't sure whether it was a Saturday or Sunday. So you're telling me this is a Monday night. Nobody has to get up and go to work the next morning. They actually go out and start partying at 10:30?
Right. Well, apparently Shelby Dasher, the little boy's mother, didn't have to go to work. But keep in mind, Nancy, that the grandmother, who also lives in the home, she did get up and go to work about 7:30 in the morning. But when the mother wakes up around 11, she says she goes into the boy's room. She discovers that he is missing, gone from her crib. She calls police, and they launch a massive search.
Okay, take it from there, Elle. So Mommy, in the middle of all this, takes a nap. She goes back to sleep while her child is missing. I want to hear about the discovery of the baby's body.
Right. Well, Nancy, later that same day, at just about 3:30 that afternoon, less than a mile, to me it looked like it was about 1,000 yards or so from the family's house, a couple is out walking dogs in this park. It's a wooded area. There's a cemetery nearby, and they discovered a little boy's body hidden in the woods. Police say it is little Tyler Dasher.
We are taking your calls to Jessica in Illinois. Hi, Jessica. What's your question?
Hi, Nancy. I just want you to know I love your show. Now, I know there's safe havens for newborns if mothers don't want them, but is there places that parents could drop, like, older children, like toddlers off and stuff, if they didn't want them without any repercussions or getting in trouble?
Okay, I'm having a hard time hearing you, but I think what you're talking about, Ellie, could you hear her correctly? Is she
Yes.
talking about like a safe haven drop-off?
Right, exactly. She's asking about safe haven laws. And Nancy, I'm going to look up Missouri right now, but to my knowledge, there is no state that allows you to drop off a child that's older than a year old.
You know what? The safe haven laws that Jessica in Illinois she's talking about is where if you don't want your child to discourage beating your child or killing your child or harming your child, you can leave your child at places called safe havens under the law. For instance, a fire department, a hospital, a police station, no questions asked in an effort to save the child. To Michael Calhoun, reporter KMOX, joining us out of St. Louis tonight. Michael, so bottom line, while mommy goes back to sleep, her child is found dead. What happens next, Michael Calhoun?
Nancy, the police had a massive response to this. There were dogs on the street. There were police officers in fatigues walking down the street, walking through backyards, police helicopters in the air, dozens of neighbors, of family, friends standing in the middle of the street crying, holding each other. And they all, those family and friends, they repeated to themselves over and over again, how could this have happened? Who took this baby? And they had great things to say about the mother. So it was the biggest shock in the world to them to get the news a day later that the mother confessed to being behind it.
The mother confesses to the beating death of her 13-month-old baby boy. You know what? I want to take him. Look at this child. 13 months old. I don't understand it. To Christine Byers, police reporter, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Why?
Well, Nancy, that's what police are trying to determine at this time. It's clear that she is cooperating with the investigation at this point. We've been told that she has been taken back to the scene to retrace the steps of her walk in the woods before disposing of the body. But that is a very good question tonight.
Ellie, what do we know?
Well, Nancy, apparently what happened is she eventually changes this story. Police say that they doubted a baby would still be sleeping at 11 o'clock in the morning. Veteran investigators that were there on the scene said this didn't add up. There was no forced entry in the home. And police say that she did eventually confess and admit that she beat her son.
But why, Ellie? Why?
Well, apparently she says that after she'd been out partying, she got up that morning. The little boy wouldn't cooperate. He wouldn't lay back down and go back to sleep. He was crying. She apparently acted, prosecutors say, likely out of frustration and anger, beat her son, hit him in the body and in the head. The medical examiner says that it was the blunt force trauma to his head that killed the little boy.
County police detectives interview Shelby Dasher, who states she had repeatedly struck Tyler in the head and the body, causing his death when she could not get Tyler to stay quiet in his crib. She states she then hid Tyler's body in the bushes where he was later discovered. Ellie, let me get something straight. So after she beats her baby to death, hides the body in a cemetery, she goes home and takes a nap?
That's right, Nancy. Police say that's what she told them she did. They are still working, though, to figure out this timeline. The one thing that's not clear, remember, we've got a 10-hour gap, at least a 10-hour gap, between 10 p.m. when she goes to bed and when she reports the boy missing.
Mommy strikes her baby repeatedly, beats the baby to death, takes the baby, hides the body, the 13-month-old body, in a cemetery, then goes home and takes a nap. Bombshell tonight, mommy's going to hell. Unleash the lawyers. Joining me out of Atlanta, Peter Odom, Kirby Clements. Okay, Peter, give me your best defense.
Well, Nancy, this is just such a tragic story, but taking the mom's side...
It's actually a murder.
Yeah. If I were representing this mother, I would be looking just to minimize... I mean, it's very difficult evidence against her. It sounds like they've got a body, they've got forensic evidence, and they've got a confession from her. So now it's a question of minimizing the damage to her. It sounds like this is something that was the result of frustration rather than premeditation.
Oh, you know what, Kirby Clements, let's just back it up just about 30 seconds, and let's just all get straight about the law, all right? Odom just gives his defense of frustration. Okay, well, last I looked, Kirby Clements, I got mad and snapped is not a defense. As a matter of fact, Kirby Clements, isn't it true that under the law, premeditation can be formed in an instant, in the twinkling of an eye, and the time it takes you to raise the gun and pull the trigger, that is long enough under the law to form intent to kill. And in this case, there was blow after blow after blow. That is enough time to form intent to kill. Is it not, Kirby Clements?
It can be, Nancy. However, the idea that she was under a lot of stress and duress and all the things that we have, you can still have that
duress?
Duress.
You're a father.
From the
both of you are fathers.
Before.
You've both had frustrating moments raising children. You've both got a house full of kids. You never beat your children to death. We're all frustrated. But beating a child to death and leaving its body in a cemetery, mommy's going to hell with a stopover in the penitentiary.
Handling the death of a small child is always one of the absolute worst case scenarios.
A charge of murder in the second degree against Shelby Dasher.
Dasher allegedly admitted to cops she couldn't get her baby to stay quiet in his crib.
Before disposing of the body, she had repeatedly struck the baby.
Struck him repeatedly.
Why you did this to Tyler? Why? He's only a baby.
Hid Tyler's body right by a graveyard.
And leave a child in that condition in a wooded area like this needs to be dealt with severely.
Another child has to die at the hands of a mother. It's a shame.
One boy who lost his life for absolutely no reason.
Dasher behind bars on $500,000 bond, charged with second-degree murder.
It says to me it's a pretty sick person.
I actually feel sick to my stomach thinking about this baby, a 13-month-old baby, in his crib, crying, all alone with a mommy full of rage, beating him to death. There's nowhere for him to go. He can't crawl out of his crib. And the more he cries, the more she beats him. Over and over in the head, the face, the body, until he's dead. Then mommy takes the baby and dumps his body, his beautiful little body, in a local cemetery. Then mommy goes back home and takes a nap. She's still tired from her night out on the town till 2:30 in the morning. We are taking your calls out to Mark Class, President, Founder, Class Kids Foundation. Mark, you know, it's bad enough when the abductor or the killer is a stranger, but when the killer is mommy, Mark Class?
Well, Nancy, in this post-Casey Anthony era, I think that these disturbed women have learned, or disturbed parents have learned, that if they just keep their mouths shut, that they may indeed be able to get away with murder. So I think at least this woman had a conscience. At least this woman admitted to what she had done. And the other thing that really stands out for me is the amazing law enforcement response we're seeing in case after case after case of missing children now. They pull out all of the stops. They put helicopters in the air, get dogs on the ground, get boots on the ground, and really give it every effort that they can.
You know, Mark Class, I have very rarely disagreed with you. Mark Class, a crime victim, his daughter Polly abducted, then murdered. He has been a tireless crusader ever since Polly's death. But I got to disagree with you about Mommy having a conscience. She only told the truth after cops had her cornered, after they busted her in one lie after the next. Mommy is the one who went home and took a nap after she killed her baby and threw his body in a local cemetery, hiding it behind bushes. To Dr. Bethany Marshall, psychoanalyst, author of Deal Breaker, a conscience? I don't understand that. This is one of the first times I've ever disagreed with Mark Klass. A conscience?
I never disagree with Mark Klass, but I think that what we're seeing is Mommy is just not as highly organized a sociopath as Casey Anthony was. So she buckled and caved under the police investigation. I know why she took that nap. She took that nap because she was relieved her child was gone. And I don't think she beat the child because the child was crying. She beat him because she wanted him dead.
One of our first supervisors on the scene was a very experienced lieutenant who used to, for most of his career, handle child abuse cases. So he recognized rather quickly that this just wasn't a missing person, that there was a lot more to this than just a baby that was discovered, missing out of a bed.
Law enforcement says 20-year-old mom Shelby Dasher claimed her 13-month-old son Tyler vanished from his crib.
You know what triggered it? That's what we all want to know.
Within hours, Dasher allegedly admitted to cops she couldn't get her baby to stay quiet in his crib, so she struck him repeatedly.
One former friend of Shelby Dasher wore a sign asking the question on everyone's mind. Why?
And then hid Tyler's body right by a graveyard.
And I want to give him a voice, since he didn't have one.
Tonight, Dasher behind bars on $500,000 bond.
It's a shame.
There's still an awful lot left to be done. That will continue. The investigation certainly isn't over. We'll say at this point, at least, there's no indication that we have that there's anyone else involved in this case other than Ms. Dasher. And the charge, if I didn't say that, the charge is one of murder in the second degree.
We are taking your calls. Mommy admits that she partied into the night, gets home around 2:30. This is on a school night. Wakes up at 11 a.m. At first, she says her baby is missing from his crib when neighbors make the shocking discovery of the baby's body at a local cemetery hidden behind bushes. Mommy, oh yeah, go ahead and stick your tongue out with that earring in it. Mommy finally cracks and admits she wanted to go back to sleep, and when the baby wouldn't go back to sleep, she beat him to death. While neighbors find the body, Mommy is taking a nap. You know what, Mommy? You'll have plenty of time to sleep in the penitentiary. We are taking your calls, but to Pat Brown, criminal profiler, author of The Profiler. Pat, I'm not buying into Mark Klass. She's got a conscience. If she had a conscience, why would she take a nap while neighbors discover the baby's dead body hidden in bushes at a graveyard?
Well, I'm with you, Nancy. I rarely also disagree with Mark. But I think what we have is a tendency to give women a break, mothers a break, with that frustration garbage. I mean, this is a cold-blooded woman, very, very cold-blooded. She even had help. She had a mother helping her take care of the child. She got to go out for the evening. A lot of mothers don't have that opportunity. I certainly didn't in the first year my child was born. I was home with her all the time because my parents were on the other side of the nation. She killed the child because the child got in her way and she wanted to be free.
Police say they knew the story just didn't add up. Within hours, Dasher allegedly admitted to cops she couldn't get her baby to stay quiet in his crib, so she struck him repeatedly and then hid Tyler's body right by a graveyard.
His body, as you know, was recovered in the not very far from her house.
There were family members and friends,
Hey,
including those who defended Tyler Dasher's mother right up until the moment prosecutors charged her with murder.
We're all so let down.
Plus, it's an investigative detail. If we knew the condition of the body, we really do need to keep that confidential at this point.
If he could talk, this is just the beginning of what he would say. And I want to give him a voice, since he didn't have one.
I can't go into all the detail and all the evidence is there. As you know, the rules don't allow all that.
You know, what was going on in your emotions? Like what triggered it? That's what we all want to know.
At this point, at least, there's no indication that we have that there's anyone else involved in this case other than Ms. Dasher, and the charge. I didn't say that the charge is one of murder in the second degree.
Welcome back, everyone. Mommy first tells police that after a night of heavy partying till 2:30 a.m., she comes home and takes a nap that morning. Then her baby is gone from his crib. After police questioning, she finally breaks down and says she was angry when her baby wouldn't go back to sleep so she could get her beauty rest. And she struck the baby repeatedly, the head, the neck, the face. The baby found by neighbors, his body thrown into a local graveyard while Mommy naps. We are taking your calls, but first to Paul Pinzone, former Sergeant, Phoenix PD, child advocate. Paul, weigh in.
I'm just in complete agreement with your profile, Nancy. We got to this point where we're losing babies, 5 a day, and if you look at this, it's not because of some kind of stressors. It's because the babies became inconvenient for the mothers. And we need to stop making excuses and looking for reasons to justify it. This is cold-blooded murder, and we need to put a stop to it.
You know, speaking of being cold-blooded murder, my question is, why is Mommy only charged with second degree? Ellie, in that jurisdiction, does that equal manslaughter?
No, Nancy, it's second-degree murder, and the way that the prosecutor described it as this is a hot-blooded murder, as in one committed in the heat of passion, as opposed to a cold-blooded, premeditated first-degree murder. That's the distinction.
I disagree.
Right now.
I disagree. What's the sentence for second degree in that jurisdiction?
Let me check on that, but I believe it is up to life.
You know, another thing, speaking of not being able to have time to form intent, such as when you pull a gun and pull the trigger, that takes less time than beating a baby to death. Let's go to Dr. Vincent DeMaio, former chief medical examiner, Bexar County, renowned forensic pathologist, joining us out of San Antonio. Dr. DeMaio, thank you for being with us. I think this is murder one, and it's my understanding that right now this is just the police charge, how they arrest you. And the grand jury can still indict her on murder one. This is just what the police have charged her for, an arrest. So, Dr. DeMaio, if the mom is just using her hands to beat the child to death, how long do you think that would take? How many blows would it take?
Oh, that takes scores of blows.
What's up?
I mean,
Not too much.
Usually what they do is they pick the child up and throw it on the floor or throw it against the wall and then pick it up again. But, you know, to the hands, I mean, you look, it's a woman, it's a small child. Scores of blow if it's just the hands. This is not a...
You know, Dr. DeMaio, for the baby to have died from blunt force trauma to the head, the face, the neck, the body, that was a severe beating, Dr. DeMaio.
Right. This is not one blow or two blows or three blows. It's, you know, you're talking way up there, you know, with double-digit blows.
Double-digit blows. But police have only charged Mommy with murder 2, not murder 1. I don't understand it. Ellie, back to you. They're saying that she didn't have time to form intent because under the law you can form intent in the twinkling of an eye. As fast as it takes me to snap my fingers, intent to kill can be formed. That's how people shoot a gun and they're charged with murder 1. What is different about this other than the victim is a baby?
Right, Nancy, and that's a question people are asking the prosecutors. If there were multiple blows here, obviously you'd assume that intent could be formed between the first blow and the subsequent blows. Also, this case is going to go to a grand jury, so there is a chance, I assume, that a grand jury could return a higher charge than the second-degree murder that she's currently charged with.
Okay, Liz, get me the phone numbers, please, for the St. Louis County Police Department and the county prosecutor's office, because they need to know what the public thinks about Mommy getting a free ride with second-degree murder, when clearly on these facts, as outlined here in court documents, Mommy landed repeated blows. Liz, can you hear me? Is that a yes, no, or a maybe? Give me those numbers. Out to the lines. Amy, Pennsylvania. Hi, Amy. What's your question, dear?
Hi. Really no words for it. I'm really hoping she has some type of mental illness at this point.
Well, all I know, Amy in Pennsylvania, is she went out that night on a school night, 10:30, party till 2:30, came home, and just wanted to go to sleep. One of her favorite comedians' shticks is, I'm not a morning person. Don't pull the covers off my head or I will kill you. Her baby boy would not let her go to sleep, and now he's dead. His body found thrown away like trash in a local graveyard. A 13-month-old baby. No indication of mental illness. As a matter of fact, just hours ago, let me pull this up. Ellie, she was in court. Let's go out to Michael Calhoun, KMOX. Michael, she was in court. The judge entered a plea of not guilty for her. What, she wouldn't speak for herself, Michael?
The judge entered the plea. She did not have an attorney. She was appointed a public defender. And I also want to note that the afternoon that this massive police operation was going on, she was spotted in the middle of the street. People didn't recognize her as the mother because she was lighthearted. She had a smile on her face at times. She was walking around with investigators and did not have that distraught look on her face that you would expect a mother to have if she wakes up and finds that her baby is not in her crib.
Dr. Bethany Marshall, did you hear that? That nobody even knew it was Mommy in the crowd because she's smiling and happy?
I think she was relieved the child was gone. Nancy, what we know about homicide and infanticide is the perpetrator has tremendous relief after the commission of the crime. That relief can last from 6 months to 3 years. I think what happened is she has a personality disorder, severe. She was out the night before with a bunch of boys. I think what happened, she wanted to have sex with someone, spend the night with someone. She had a crush on somebody. She wanted that little boy out of the way so that she could have a young woman's life. It's the Casey Anthony syndrome, isn't it? It's the same thing we saw out on a stripper pole dancing, partying, and then poof, the child is gone. This thing about, oh, he was crying so I had to beat him, she made that up after the fact. The fact is this was a cruel, sustained attack. There was no soft kill. She didn't poison him. She didn't put a pillow over his face. What we see some mothers do, she chose the most cruel and heinous way to do this.
Everyone, as we go to break, the family album is back.
The story shocking. Police respond to a call from 20-year-old mom Shelby Dasher, who says she put her 13-month-old baby boy Tyler to bed.
Tyler Dasher.
One boy who lost his life.
The boy who loved to smile.
A lot of unanswered questions.
And when she wakes up, he was gone. Police quickly feel something isn't right, but what they discover is disturbing.
The boy whose body was found near a cemetery.
For absolutely no reason.
Why?
The cause of death is multiple blunt force trauma.
The question on everyone's mind. Why? Candles were lit for a life that never should have been taken.
And we need to remember all of the children who have lost their lives due to abuse.
We are taking your calls. I've got those numbers for you. Why should Mommy get a free ride with a murder 2 charge? She could be out in 20, and she gets 20, she'll be out in 6 or 7 years. Her baby's never going to get out of that coffin. All right? I know that's
whether your goal is saving money, building
it is the truth. Mommy admits she beats her baby to death when it won't go back to sleep. She's tired after a night of partying till 2:30 a.m. This baby found brutally beaten to death. His body dumped in a local graveyard. And while neighbors discover the body, Mommy's back home having a beauty nap after partying all night long. Only when cops confront her with inconsistencies in her story does Mommy break down and tell the truth. According to our medical examiner, it took double-digit blows to kill this 13-month-old baby boy, now an angel. If you disagree with a light charge like murder 2, as I do, Here's the numbers. The local district attorney, Bob McCullough, St. Louis County prosecutor, 314-615-2600. Repeat, 314-615-2600. Local cops, 314-889-2341. Let your voice be heard on behalf of this 13-month-old baby boy. Unleash your lawyers, Peter Odom, Kirby Clements. You know this jurisdiction is death penalty, death by needle, and I think that this murder fits perfectly in subsection 7, which is a vile or heinous murder, Peter Odom.
Well, Nancy, the prosecutors in the case and the police officers who know the facts best, who are not driven by outrage or passion, have decided this is second-degree murder, not
first. Well, that's not true. That's
and
not
hopefully
true.
They won't be.
That's
hopefully
what the
they,
cops. No, that's not true, Peter. Peter, that's only the charge from the police arrest. She has not been formally charged at grand jury. That's like when Peter and Kirby, both veteran prosecutors before they became defense attorneys, they both tried a lot of cases. I've seen them do it myself. Peter, this is still just the cops' charge. Like when you're arrested for cocaine and they find out it was 50 hits and you get indicted for trafficking. Yes.
A bookend charge.
So there's still time for a murder one.
There is, but there's also a chance for the grand jury to reduce the charge to something like manslaughter, which is very common in these cases, where the killing is obviously...
That doesn't mean it's right.
Well, you disagree with it, Nancy, and I can respectfully disagree with you, as the prosecutors in this case apparently do.
You're right, Peter.
Well, actually, I wish you would quit misstating the facts. Kirby Clements, this is just what she was arrested on. This is going to a grand jury, and they will determine what charge will be presented to a jury. And Kirby and Peter, let me remind both of you that I observed with my own 2 eyes and ears, both of you seek the highest possible charge at grand jury so you can then offer the jury a series of charges at trial. If she's charged with murder 1, Kirby, a jury can come back on murder 2, voluntary, involuntary, aggravated assault, simple battery, or not guilty. But if they don't charge her with murder 1, the jury will never have that choice. I've seen both of you do this.
Well,
so don't get on TV and tell me it's crazy, all right?
That may be true, but you got to factor in, I think you're confusing intent to kill and premeditation. And in this situation, there doesn't appear to be premeditation.
Anything.
Well,
no.
She beat the baby to death. We agree.
Requires premeditation can be formed in the twinkling of an eye, Kirby. It's not like a long, drawn-out plan. For murder 1, you do not have to have a long, drawn-out plan like poisoning someone over weeks and months. That is how all 3 of us have gotten convictions when somebody gets mad, pulls a gun, and pulls a trigger. That's murder 1. We've all tried cases and gotten convictions on those facts. Have you not, Kirby Clements?
I have, but you know what? That person had a gun, so already death was in the equation.
Okay.
But in this situation, it's a different scenario.
You know what, Kirby?
Yes, Nancy.
Don't start with me. Because you've also tried cases where fists and hands were used as a lethal weapon. Have you not?
I have. That is true.
Of course you have. We all 3 have. So here, a gun versus fists, no difference. Okay, you know what? This is crazy talk. To Bethany Marshall, why do people give mommies breaks? What, we don't want to imagine our own mommy committing a crime? Is that some psychological, psychiatric thing I can't explain?
We don't want to think there are any bad mommies out there. And Nancy, I think the police officers were seduced into believing this young woman's story that she got frustrated because the baby was crying. I think as a nation, we've lost our minds together. Yes, there can be bad mommies. In terms of premeditation, in my field, we don't think anybody snaps. We don't really look at it that way. We think that if someone commits homicide, they contemplate it at an unconscious level, if not conscious, for a long, long time. They may subjectively believe they snapped in the moment, but at some level they were contemplating it outside of awareness. So this whole, even in a twinkling of an eye thing, or the minute you pick up the gun, you want to kill the other person, you've thought about it, Nancy. You've thought about it long and hard when you get to that point.
Out to the lines, Helen in Arkansas. Hi, Helen. What's your question, dear?
I have a question and a comment. First off, I want to say I love your show. I love what you do. I have a friend that we watch your show by phone because she's in another state.
Thank you.
My heart goes out to the grandmother. I'm a grandmother, and that's just the best job in the world. I love my children, but my grandbaby is just awesome. I want to know if there was drugs involved. Will she be charged with anything other than murder, like child abuse or anything like that?
You know what? Probably not, Helen, in Arkansas, because under the law, there's a theory of merger. If for instance, the murder encompasses some type of neglect or abuse, there'll probably be just one charge. Catherine in Delaware, what's your question? I think I've got Catherine in Delaware. Hi, Catherine. Do you have a question, dear?
Yes, I'm here, Nancy. Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, I just like to say I had a few questions, but most were answered waiting to say my question. But I'm a mom of 6. I'm only 29 years old, and it broke my heart to watch this story because it seems like it's happening every single day. And my real question is, why is she only getting second-degree murder? And another thing is, she already admitted to it. There should be no court. I'm just disgraced with our, judicial system because she admitted to it. They're going to leave her in jail. They're going to go through a whole court process. They're going to give her a free lawyer. They're going to feed her. She doesn't deserve any of that.
Welcome back, everybody. Very quickly, an update in the search for baby Sky. Baby Sky goes missing out of mommy's Acura parked on the side of the road when she leaves him behind strapped in a car seat. To Jeff Dubois, reporter with CNN affiliate KIRO, joining us at the police department. Jeff, what do we know?
Well, Nancy, it seems like police detectives are flat out of leads in this case, but we did finally talk to someone who knows Julie Berry, her brother, in fact. Cairo TV here in Seattle. We knew exactly where he lives. We staked his place out. Yesterday, one of our reporters, David Quinlan, spotted him, tracked him down and said, "Hey, how's your sister doing? How's Sky's mother doing?" He said that she's very upset and that they're hoping for the best in the situation. But when asked specifically what they're doing to help the investigation, he said, "I don't know what else we can do. We think all the information is out there." Police detectives here at Bellevue PD certainly have some other questions, though, for her. They talked to her once on Sunday night, a week and a half ago, when baby Sky went missing. Haven't really talked to her specifically since, have been talking to her through her attorney. But they want her to take a lie detector test, and so far she has refused to do so, Nancy.
With us is Jeff Dubois, KIRO. She's so upset she wants to help. Then why doesn't she go talk to police and give a polygraph? And also, she's so upset, but she has time to log on to a dating website. Jeff Dubois?
Well, yeah, that dating website is called seekingarrangement.com. It's a dating site for wealthy individuals who can set up a payment system, a stipend for companionship with other people. She said on her profile that she was willing to take $3,000 to $5,000 a month for companionship. Detectives here definitely want to talk to her and have her take that lie detector test.
Well, companionship, that's a nice way to put it, Jeff Dubois. Jeff joining us at the police department, KIRO. Let's stop and remember Army Sergeant First Class James Oxner.